All right, so we're on Barely Famous, Dr. Drew. Are you so excited to be here?
I am so excited. We've tried so long to do this, and
I know.
let's see. Today is like Friday morning. It's taken about what 18 months to pull this off. Maybe 2 years. Ridiculous.
Yes. I mean, I got on yours though, so that was good. I got to go on your podcast, and that was a good time.
That was good, and it seems like good. Like it's good to talk to you. I don't know why it takes so damn long. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are. How have you been since we talked? I think when was the podcast we did together in February?
But I think we had a reunion, right, where you were at a
Oh,
distance.
April.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
were on Zoom or something for us, which I didn't like. I wanted you in person. It was one of the disappointments for me of that reunion.
I
So,
know.
but
And I won't be back for another one.
why?
I left the show. That was my last
So
appearance,
you really
and
you hinted that's what you were going to do, but that's what you
yeah,
did.
yeah,
Well, that
um,
sucks. I will miss
yeah.
you.
But it'll be good for me. I think I need to take a step back. I've filmed so much of my life, and I don't know. I just feel like it's the other girls' turn to kind of, you know, take the show and do their thing with it.
There's that, but I'll tell you what. Most people that have left, the healthy reasons they leave is they just need to focus on their kids, and
Yeah,
you certainly have got enough to deal with just with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Isaac doesn't really love to film either, and so I don't ever want him to feel pressured to film or anything like that. But
Yeah.
Lincoln and Lux love it, so I mean, maybe we'll be back in the future for something else. But for now, we've been enjoying time without cameras.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
And football season's coming.
yeah. Well, yeah, and
More
I'm
importantly, I'm
not
telling
ready.
you, that kid's got talent. He's got it. The coaches I know are telling you that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a lot. He also does basketball, and he's just as good at basketball as he is at football. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
Wow. Well, you go with the one he loves.
Yeah, yeah. So the last time I talked to you before the reunion, you called me while I was in Dallas and
Yeah.
dealing with some depression stuff. I'm sitting
Yeah.
right here in front of my therapy lamp.
Okay. Well,
um,
you're like light, this, seasonal affective disorder lamp. That lamp.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Good.
said anything. I'll try anything. I just started Lexapro, trying to figure out if that's going to work for me. Do the genocyte testing. I'm struggling. I'm still struggling, but
Let's. You want to talk about it?
yeah.
Yeah, because I forget what you tweeted, but I remember thinking, "Oh, this is different. This is
Mhm.
not Kaylin in her normal state,"
Yeah.
and that's why I called. I was like, "You kind of scared me. I was
Hear you.
concerned." Yeah, and you were really, yeah, you were depressed. You were
I still am.
so whoever's prescribing. I gave you a bunch of referrals and stuff. Did you end up using any of those?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see a psychiatrist up in Newark, and
Okay.
he put me on
Lexapro.
Zoloft first, and it
Uh,
didn't help.
uh.
Now I'm on Lexapro.
Now, I witnessed a lot of the trauma that you had growing up. Have you
Hmm.
had any trauma therapy?
No. Mm-mm.
I mean, I really have always thought that was a main thing for you.
Yeah.
It would really help you regulate these emotions because that trauma is always there. It's always in
Hmm.
the background, and
Well,
you're so high functioning, you're able to kind of compartmentalize it and push it away. But I worry about that.
I think when the camera stopped coming around, my life slowed down a little bit, and so
Mm,
then all the trauma and the thoughts from my
yeah,
childhood and other things started to reappear because I'm not going constantly
right.
and filming and doing that.
You're not
Right.
distracted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is
So,
that not a good thing or a good thing?
I mean, it's a catch 22 because it's good for it to come up so I can work through it in therapy,
Yeah.
but it's not good in the fact that like you said, the impulse and you just don't know what to do with it. I've been so high functioning, but now I'm less high functioning than I've ever been. So I just don't
Right.
know.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know if it's the meds or, they make me so tired that I'm sleeping more than ever. It's really hard for me to get up in the morning. It's hard for me to finally get my day going.
How,
Um,
how long ago did you see the psychiatrist?
I had an appointment with him almost 2 weeks ago, and I'll follow up with him next week. We have an
Okay,
appointment.
because you shouldn't be putting up with side effects. You should. There's enough sort of diversity of choice of medicine that will work. You should get reasonable control of your symptoms and really no significant side effects. You got to insist on that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't know what's what. This is the first
You're,
time that
you're, it's the first time I've seen you. You're doing something I've never seen you do, where you're covering how bad you feel with this smile.
every day.
And I see it. You've never. That's not really the. Usually, you kind of let me know how you feel. You don't smile on top of saying I feel horrible. You just go I feel horrible,
Yeah.
or my this baby daddy is an asshole. Whatever it is. I mean, you juggle. How are you doing therapy?
Therapy's been good. I go two days a week.
Okay, good, because you do your actual competency and your level of functioning is not just high, it's extraordinary, right? That's always been you. I don't know if you give yourself that, but back when you're going through school and working and the sports and the multiple co-parenting obligations, I mean, that's it's it's a lot, right? It's a lot on paper, but you do it with an extraordinary capability. Extraordinary.
I just feel like the capability is not there anymore, and I don't know if it's from the. It must be from the medicine then, because that's really the only thing that's changed.
It's hard to tell. I mean, it could be the depression, but your depression was like 4 months ago when I called you, right? Or five, something like that.
March, I think.
Yeah, and then you were having trouble functioning, but you were what we call vegetative. You were really like down. I mean, and I don't see that right now. You seem kind of you're okay, but you're
I also
complaining.
slept all morning and got up 30 minutes before this interview. So
Well, okay. How does that work with all the kids?
thankfully, I don't have them this week. In the
Okay.
summertime, we all do 50-50. So I'll get them back on Sunday.
Okay.
And I'll have them for my whole week. I'm nervous to see what happens next week when I get them
Mm,
back, but I do have help. My friend Natalie helps me during the week, so she's here to
okay.
kind of supervise, just
Right.
while I'm trying to figure out my meds and my depression.
How are the dads doing? Are they stepping up?
Yeah, this is the first time Chris has ever had 50-50, and it's for the summer. And Javi and Joe have been really supportive. I just let them know about where I'm at mentally, my depression. They've been more supportive, I think, than they ever have.
I feel like, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong about this, that there are three baby daddies, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. I feel like all three of them are trying to be good people and
Probably
good
not the
dads.
last. Probably not the
I
last
I
one.
still feel like all of them. I really feel like they're trying. I mean, he's got the kid, right?
Both of them, yeah. Hmm.
And he's doing his job. We
Yeah,
think. Okay. I know you have all kinds of feelings, and I'm not there. Do you have any? Do you have any romantic connections right now with anybody?
yeah.
Are you?
I have the same
Yep.
boyfriend that was on the reunion.
Okay. And that
That
and that's
briefly showed
stable and
his face.
that's working and okay.
Yeah, that one's
You're
all
making
good.
me sad. You're pulling me down here. Come
No,
on now.
I
Uh,
don't want to pull you down. I don't want to
yeah,
pull you down.
I'm worrying about you.
No, I
Yeah, yeah, yes. No, not no, yes. I'm worrying about you, and there's no reason you shouldn't be better than this. And you're connected to your therapist. You've been with this therapist for a long time, right?
yeah, almost, it'll be 3 years in October. So it's been,
It's good. Is she worried about you?
yeah,
Yeah. Mm,
she is. But I met with her this morning and just kind of went over some more options. And I mean, once I get up and like get my day going, I'm okay.
yeah.
But it's just
Yeah.
getting my day going is the hardest part.
So you must have zoomed with her.
Yeah.
Are you seeing her in person also?
Yeah, when I can, but she's an hour away, and it's kind of like my schedule is hard because it's week on, week off with the kids.
Yeah.
So if I
Yeah.
don't have the kids, I'll go up there. If I do have the kids, Zoom. But I wasn't supposed to meet with her this morning. That was just
Yeah.
like a let's connect really quick kind of thing.
Good. That's good that you have her
Yeah.
like that. Has she suggested any real trauma therapy, like EMDR or anything of that sort?
Yeah, she mentioned it, and I actually told her she loves you, and I I told her that you had mentioned EMDR to me, and she said that would
Yeah.
not be a bad idea. I just don't know, like it's hard because Delaware is so weird. There's you have to like really dig for good
Well,
providers.
I understand that's everywhere. That's not just Delaware. That's everywhere. And I fished around. I got online and I sent you some names. I think they all had trauma background, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But it's EMDR. You, your therapist is your therapist,
Mhm.
and your connection to her and her caring for you is really, really, really important. That's numero uno. The EMDR therapist needs to be just properly attuned. There needs to be somebody very open. They don't have to be as skilled probably as or as connected with you, or as even as how you fit with a therapist sometimes. You don't have to have that fit that you need to be in a long-term therapy. You just need somebody who does this. It's almost kind of hypnosis like. It has that kind of quality to it.
Okay.
So you don't have to have the perfect fit with the therapist the way you would with the one you want for the long term.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And um damn.
Dr. Drew, if anyone told me that I would be go into my 30s with severe depression, I'd be like, no freaking way. Like I've been rocking out for the past 15 years. No way. But
Yeah,
30,
but Kail, it's you've been sailing above what's been going on underneath, and it's you've been taking on so much. And by the way, it's not like it's not been painful every step of the way.
no, it's
Thank,
definitely painful. It's
thank
definitely
God you've
painful.
got thank God you have great kids, right? Everyone's healthy and they're amazing and they love you and blah blah blah. The dads have been a challenge, their families have been a challenge,
Hmm.
and it's been painful. And I was there, I bore witness. I'm telling you, it was that one not easy. And I knew at the time that the background was, and you never really at the beginning would really tell me. You still haven't really told me the whole story, but I know the deal with your mom. It was bad enough that you had to leave as a teenager.
Hmm.
That's never good.
Right.
That's never good.
I never talked about what happened in 2019 with Chris and, what all went down. And I think that the podcast with you would be a good place to start because I feel like you are pretty neutral and um I've just never told a story. When he almost killed me, it really did change my life and it shaped my life in a way that I do think that a lot of what I'm going through now is still from 2019.
Okay, so that makes sense, right? Because whenever the trauma, the shape of trauma in childhood ultimately is a fear of not surviving. That's really what's underneath it. Being abandoned. That's for a child. Abandonment is consistent with demise, right?
Right.
And so that's how we get traumatized as children. As adults, we often entering these situations, not uncommonly, where we feel like, oh, this is it. And if you, whatever the circumstance is, when you feel like there's a possibility, I'm not going to be here in a minute, that re-triggers everything. This
Hmm.
is when it all comes up big time. And that's when people get a lot of PTSD symptoms. So that's probably what you're dealing with. That may be why the mood is so unstable too.
It's just like I often think like am I overreacting? Like is this, me making excuses? Is this me just I don't know. But I thoroughly believe that night changed my life and I don't think that anyone is really prepared to hear the story, but I'm ready to share it and I don't know.
Well, you got to remember. I don't know if you should, frankly, because it's gonna you're gonna then get into a he said she said battle that I wouldn't recommend it for your where you're at right now.
Okay, fair
You,
enough.
you know, I happily will come back and when your moods are better and we can really dig into it a little bit. I think I will say what's important. Okay.
Hmm.
What's important is that what you experience in that moment is your life was threatened. That's all that counts. It could have been him saying boo. I don't care what he said. I don't care what he did. What
Hmm.
I care is that you experienced near death feeling. And that's all that matters in
Right.
terms of how you're feeling now. The details of it and everything, he's going to deny. You're going to have your view. That's going to make you feel terrible right now.
Oh, that's a really good point. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty much how I felt up until this point because I've talked
Yeah.
about it.
Well, I think the way for you to frame it to feel better is to maybe say, I have a story. I had an experience. I have a point of view. When I'm feeling better, I will give you my perspective on what happened.
Okay,
I think that's a viable thing to say and do.
sure.
But I would not recommend it right now.
Good.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, fair enough. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Um, I mean,
But I'm sorry. I'm sorry you went through that. I really am. It's awful. And you know what? My bet. Well, let me ask you this: how is the world treating you these days? Social media and that kind of thing.
pretty good.
Good.
I also
Supportive.
haven't been getting on as much.
Good.
Kristen helps me a lot with running my social media and posting things for me, and so I really haven't been on.
Good.
Um, and it's helped a lot. Yesterday, I don't even know if I went on social media because it's been really nice not to read hateful comments, to be
So you
honest.
are getting some hateful stuff.
Oh, I'm sure, but I just don't read it anymore. I don't read anything.
Yeah.
A lot of times I just don't even feel like looking at my phone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's been a blessing and a curse, I think.
Yeah. So what I was thinking, the reason I asked that question is, being a subject of domestic violence, you could be an important resource for other women. I mean, you could create a little, I don't know if people are talking to you about it online, but it's a ridiculously common experience. Ridiculous.
Well, I think it goes back to when we talked on the reunion about some people believe that I cannot say I'm a victim of domestic violence when I pushed hobby in 2012. And so that's kind of been a reoccurring theme from people is that I'm an abuser myself, so I don't get to claim that I've been abused.
Okay, so how would you respond to that?
Well, I mean, I talked to my therapist about it and she said the same thing that you said, that it's very, very different. What I did and how I handled it versus what I went through. And so I stopped really talking about it because I don't want people to feel like I'm being a hypocrite.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna walk down a different path, and I'm gonna come back to
Okay.
this in a second. How did you watch the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing?
Yeah, parts of it. I mean, I didn't stay on the whole
How
thing.
did you experience that? What did you think when you watched all that?
I definitely feel like there was abuse on both ends.
Okay, that's all I wanted to hear,
Okay.
and that's very common, right? Relationships are messy. It's not ever, oh, it's all this, or rarely is it all obviously this way or that way, but but there is a difference between pushing and shoving and near death experience,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's what your therapist was talking about. And not to dismiss the pushing and shoving or smacking or whatever you've done, that was being an abuser. That was.
100%.
It was. And yeah,
100%.
and it's a really common thing for people to have both roles. It's messy. Relationships are fucking messy. And I really thought that Amber Heard and Johnny Depp did us a service by opening up their relationship, because it showed he was a severe alcoholic. God knows how scary he was and what he did while he was blacked out. God knows. And then she was distorting and doing her thing, and we got to see her stuff. Unfortunately, I thought it was sad that the public ganged up on her. I don't know why. I really don't even understand why, because to me it just showed how to say, oh, it's all this person's fault or all that person's fault, or this is the abuser and that's the abusee. It gets messy. It gets messy. And I just want, I'm going to bet that if you go out there and talk about that, hey, I'm suffered domestic abuse, you're going to find not most, but well, maybe even most of the people that respond to you will have similar stories to yours, where it's like, yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I pushed. Yeah, I whatever. And some people will say it's in self-defense. Some people will say it's impulsive. I couldn't, whatever. It's weird to say you're an abuser, so you can't talk about your own domestic abuse. You know what I mean? It's just, that doesn't even make sense to me. So I would take issue with that in the strongest terms. And I'm not even saying I wouldn't. Well, this is going to be not popular, but I wouldn't even go so far as to sort of measure how severe one was versus the
Right.
other. It just doesn't make sense to me to say I can't talk about my having been the object of abuse if I have done it myself. You can't. You just can't because that's how messy things get.
Just not black and white. That's like the theme of
It's not.
I constantly say that on my podcast, all of them, because I'm like, nothing is black and white. Like all the people that want things to be one way or the other, and it's just not that way. It's so hard because you can't
Yes.
change people's minds once they have their minds made up. They're if they don't want
Well,
their minds changed.
let's talk at those people. Like so I like the word messy because that's what relationships are. They're messy. And if you're thinking it's all has to be all this way or all that way, you as somebody watching Kail on social media, you think she has to be all good or all bad, that is a problem with you, not Kail, with you. All this all good, all bad thinking is pathological. It's literally a sign of a cluster B problem.
What is
And
cluster B?
cluster B is it's a grouping of personality disorders, borderline, sociopath, histrionic, narcissist. And a lot of people have those traits these days, a lot. And so to insist on either acting out on somebody else and taking my misery and putting it on somebody else, that's a cluster B feature. But the other is thinking that somebody's either all good or all bad. We're all messy. We're all, and in relationships, we get even messier. I'm going to bet you've had black white thinking in your day
Oh,
when you were younger, probably.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
honestly, I mean, the show, being on the show has helped me kind of just accept people for who they are, and there's not always black and white. But I actually
Yeah.
just said yesterday on a podcast, I said, depression has humbled me. Like you truly don't know what people are going through, and you don't know what
That's right.
path they've walked to get where they are, and
That's right.
why they make the decisions they make. And so it's never black and white. It's never all good or all bad. And so in some ways depression has opened my eyes to that, and I see things a little more clearly, especially, social media. There are hate pages for me. Like they hate me. But now it's kind of nice to know that they may be at, what is it called? Cluster B or cluster P?
Cluster B personality disorder, cluster B. I look it up online, cluster B. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. I noticed you moving into more realistic assessment from black and white thinking. I've noticed that about you. And when I hear you talk about it with that kind of clarity and empathy, which is the other thing cluster B people don't have, they lose empathy. They get envy and they lose empathy. The summary of the tale of Kail right now is, God damn, therapy
Yes,
works.
it does. It really does.
Therapy really works. You have derived considerable benefit from therapy, and congratulations. That's
Yeah.
good. Not that you're not suffering, you're still suffering, but you are a lot
It's
better.
crazy
A
because,
lot
like,
better.
even when I think about the reunion where I was like, V smokes weed, she can't be around my son, and I stormed off and I was so upset. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, what that to me back then was black and white. If you smoke, you're a bad mom.
Yeah.
You're a bad person,
Yeah.
and you can't be around kids. So I'm very thankful to have moved past that, because that's it's a shitty way to view the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not real. It's shitty, and it becomes impossible to let you've described deep empathy for other people from your position of pain. You just described that, like, I'm in pain. You never know what people are going through. Makes me look at things differently because everyone's got their own shit they're dealing with. You had something, I don't know if you remember when you were quite a bit younger, that was really scared me, for you. And I'm guessing it's still underneath some of your mood stuff. Is you would get these dissociative episodes where, when I was just sitting with you, I would feel like I was going with you into a
Mm-hmm.
pit, like you're falling. Do you remember
Yeah.
those? Yeah, and you sort of dissociate, and then you rage or storm off or
Mm-hmm.
something. But that wasn't good.
No.
Fall into pits like that. They're almost dead spots you fall into, and they're very difficult to
But I
tolerate.
think therapy has helped me get through all of that, and I wish that I found
Not,
my
not
therapist sooner. But we're going on 3 years, so I feel like I found.
keep going. keep going. And I would say, the twice a week is actually really important too, because it keeps her really connected to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
but I mean, on to good stuff. I mean, the kids,
Okay. Talk about football
yeah,
again.
the kids are thriving, and I
Yeah.
can't believe my youngest is about to be 2. Like I struggled with him a lot. I think a lot of the depression came up for him too because I was not connected to the pregnancy, and it took a year for me to really connect to him as a baby. And now I'm like, I could not live without you. Like, I love you, and I just hold
Mm,
him at night. I still rock him to sleep. He's about to be 2 this month, and I still rock him to sleep.
right.
And no, they're all doing great.
That's great. They are. When you look back at your life, let's say when you were desperately clinging to Joe back in the early days, could you have imagined yourself here now with all these boys
No,
and all this the life that you
no,
have? It's like, really, it's kind of extraordinary. You've created this extraordinary life for yourself. And I know you might have constructed it a little differently if you were at the
yeah.
drawing board planning it, but you really have an extraordinary life. You have extraordinary kids. You have extraordinary people in your life. You have extraordinary circumstance there where you live. You still live in the same house?
I just built a house. I moved in February.
Didn't we see some of that?
Yeah, yeah, on the
Yeah,
renewal.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And it's just amazing. And then I mean, how you've got so many blessings. I know it's hard to, it's hard. Sometimes that somebody saying that to you makes you feel worse in terms of your mood because
No, no, no. I try to think about that when I'm in like a weird headspace, and I'm like, I have so much to be happy for, and I do
yeah,
try. But I think people think, oh, you have money, so there's no way you're depressed. You can't be depressed if you
yeah,
have, if your
no,
bills are
of
paid. And I'm
course,
like,
no.
it doesn't exactly work that way.
It categorically does not at all work that way,
Yeah.
not at all. I see plenty of wealthy people with mood disturbances, plenty,
So
and
is depression a mood
yeah,
issue? Okay. Okay.
so depression is technically what's called a mood disturbance.
A mood disturbance.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And have you ever had any, I'm just curious, any up? I think I asked you this when I called you 4 months ago. Is any periods where you have endless energy? Have there been periods like that in your life where you have endless energy, you don't need to sleep, and you find yourself buying too many things,
Oh,
that
I
kind of thing?
definitely have a spending problem. I
But
definitely.
not a spending issue, but so much as like an episode where you're like really inflated and
Yes.
hyperverbal, and
Yes.
you should talk to a psychiatrist about that because maybe there's some mood, bipolar kind of quality to your
I
mood
think it's
disturbance.
ADHD.
Well, talk to the psychiatrist. Just fill
Okay.
it all out. Make
Okay.
sure that's all, because it's really interesting. If you have any bipolar quality to your mood disturbance, these anti-seizure medication and mood stabilizing medication, they work so well. I mean, you'll like immediately feel better when you get on, if they get that right, if that's actually what you have. I'm not rendering an opinion whether you have it or not. I'm just saying make sure that they're thinking about it just
Sure.
in
Sure.
case,
Sure.
which I'm sure they are. I mean, somebody good would think about that, but it's sort of normative.
You just never know. I feel like you either find ones that are super invested and willing to help, and some that are just like, we'll see.
Yeah, it's been and I think my profession is getting more the like, whatever, I'll do the best I can kind of, rather than really investing in patients. It's the COVID screwed people up, my profession up a bunch, and then the new generation has a different attitude about things. They're good, they're
Right.
smart, but
Yeah.
there's just a different feeling about it.
Approach. Yeah. I guess I don't. Delaware is definitely not. I hear about so many great doctors in New York,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there was one that wanted. I forget what it was called. Kristen would know, but brain mapping.
Oh, yeah. Dr.
Should I
Amen.
try that, or what is that?
Dr. Amen, is that who you're talking about?
Yeah. How'd you know?
Because I know him very well. And actually, if you watch like one of the later seasons of Celebrity Rehab, I took several cast members and had them mapped out. And Eamon and I met on them, and they, we actually met. We did SPECT scans on Dennis Rodman, Heidi Fleiss, Mindy McCready, and
Wait, I
somebody
remember
else. There was,
that season. I remember. Okay, so
yeah,
I probably saw it and just I'm gonna have to go back and watch. But
yeah, you didn't know what that was, and
yeah,
it helped me. it helped me with Mindy and Dennis, because they
Okay.
had some really abnormal scans, and and it sort of, it shaped more what we were doing with them, because they had some really significant neurological stuff, and the mood disturbances when they developed for Mindy were like very serious. Unfortunately, it's just, I gotta get this off my chest. We got, followed her for years and years and years afterwards, and she was in Arkansas or Tennessee or something. We got her in a facility, and they let her go. Her boyfriend or fiance killed himself. She agreed to go in. She was very suicidal and, really having trouble. And she went in, and then they just let her go home. She went for like 4 hours and went, no, I'm not willing to stay. She didn't tell anybody. Went home, where she had freaking firearms. And I just am so angry about that. That's
My
a major loss.
my ex boyfriend, so someone I dated in high school, actually right before Joe, he recently committed suicide, and um, I was very conflicted about it, and I couldn't understand my feelings on why I would think about I have thought about suicide more since he committed suicide.
Mm.
And I told my therapist that, and she said that it can be not actually contagious, but it almost opens the door for people who are already, suicidal, to basically envy the fact that they're not in pain anymore. And so,
Yes.
I basically, I just couldn't. I was so scared to say it out loud because I didn't want her to commit me. And
Yeah.
I just said, I don't know why I'm feeling this way, and it's. I feel like it's so horrible for me to say it out loud. And she got me to say it, and she said, actually, it's more common than you think.
She's absolutely correct. She's absolutely right. And we are in a wave of suicide. I blame COVID and lockdown, because that's really been the source. That's what's put people, really, a lot of people, over the edge. And then substances have gone up with that too. And it is considered a contagion. It is, people talk about copycat or contagiousness, but she's absolutely 100% correct the way she framed it psychologically. That is the psychological process. But I would add on to what she told you, and I bet she told you the same thing. Putting it into the room, saying it out loud, decreases its
Yeah,
power.
she did
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah.
That's why I
Yeah.
think she wanted me to say. I'm sure she already knew what I was going to say.
Yeah. She
But
did. She did. She did.
so would things like that and like my depression, would it show up on a brain mapping? Like, do you think that I should go see Dr.
Uh, it, it's it's not an exact science. It can be helpful. The stuff that I found helpful is, we found areas of people's brains that were not getting proper blood supply, and we go, look, Mindy, there's a spot right here. And she goes, oh yeah, I got hit in the head when I was, 17 or something. And we're like, okay, well, that's going to be an issue. That's going to affect how we can treat you, and, how serious this is. And so I find his stuff more useful when there's a neurological thing underneath. He relies on it very powerfully to guide what antidepressants he uses. And I've had many people say that it's been very helpful. I know the psychiatric community is a little skeptical, because it's kind of an old technology and it's not an exact science, but it's something. It is something. I don't think you're quite there yet.
Okay.
Because you'd have to come out to the West Coast, right, to do that, or
He has an
something.
office in New York City.
Oh, he has one in New York City.
Hmm.
Give your current psychiatrist a chance. You've only been on nothing so far, and you haven't had your blood done yet. You got to get your genetics tested. Do the basics first before
Okay.
you get fancy. And if you're still frustrated and having trouble, then yes, for
Okay.
sure. Then you start looking for ways to optimize treatment.
I don't know. I feel like we should bring your show back, because I feel like now more than ever we need to see stuff like this on TV. So who do we call to bring it back?
VH1. VH1 owns it, and I either tell them to release it so I can go do it somewhere else and they can be partners in it.
Yeah.
I mean, why they won't let it go anywhere, or let's do it, because not only would it be an important thing for the moment, because substances are off the chain right now, but we have new modalities for treatment. We have new things we can show people, and new hope to give them, and help them understand what's available. And
So we got to call them. I need to call them. Who do we call?
I don't know if I don't ever deal with the executives over at MTV. I think it's the same people you'd be dealing with for Teen Mom. So I don't know if
Listen,
you have
I
any
will
comment.
call Larry right now and say,
No, it's not it's not Larry.
oh,
It's not the
okay,
producer. It's on the MTV side. It's the VH1 executives.
we need that back because right now I think that mental health is a huge topic.
Hey, we could do just a mental health unit. You know what I mean? We
Yeah,
could do what's really interesting to me is, well, here's the conundrum. A lot of stuff can be done now as an outpatient, so we could do a longer term outpatient kind of thing, showing people over a longer period of time with outpatient groups that meet 3 times a week or something. The problem is when I talk to the people that produce the show, they're like, "Oh no, we need to see people sick. We need all the detoxing and all that stuff." That's what people were drawn to, and I'm like, "Well, you may be right. That's unfortunate, but that may be true. I don't know."
I mean they could. I'll be on it. I'll be the first. I'll be the first, and they
I
can.
would like. Here's what I would like to do. I would like to. I'm actually working on this, trying to develop stuff for specialized populations, like Native Americans or groups that are really suffering right now, that have cultural things that I don't understand, but would happily bring cultural and ceremonial kinds of elements to bear to help people get over their traumas is really what it all is,
Right. No, that
and
would be amazing.
and manage their illness, manage the disease of addiction. I didn't expect to go down this path, you, Kail. This is getting interesting. This is what are we doing? Let's talk more about happy stuff. We're going to
Listen,
talk about happy things again, the kids.
my no, my friend, she wanted to come. She wanted to show you her tattoo of She didn't end up coming, but she has a tattoo from what is the thing with Christina P with the squiggly the forget it.
So it's some meme from After Dark. Some
Yeah,
meme,
and
yeah, or
yes,
your mom's
yeah.
house. Your mom's
Your
house
mom's
meme.
house. Yeah, she has
Yeah.
a tattoo and she was gonna show it to you, but she didn't end up coming. And I was like, Dr. Drew will love that. And
Yeah,
Christina,
I would love that. You have to take a picture and text it to me. That's what you got
yeah,
to do.
yeah,
Yeah, let me just tell people what that is. So I am lucky enough to be in the world of Your Mom's House, which is Tom Segura and his wife Christina P's world they created, and I do a show there called After Dark, and it's interesting. We're starting to bring people into the studio to guest host with me. Maybe if you're in Austin, we do them in Austin. Yeah, yeah, I'll bring you in there because the character of the show is changing a little bit, and I'm looking for people to just help me answer some of those questions with me.
yeah.
And that's a zone you have not really been in with me. It'd be interesting to hear you talk about that stuff.
No, I want people that listen to my podcast. I need you guys to go listen to Dr. Drew's other podcast. It's a different side of Dr. Drew than Teen Mom.
It's
And
sort
it's
of
fun.
throwback. It's sort of a throwback to Loveline. I'm just answering crazy questions, and it's funny. It's interesting.
It's so funny.
And yeah, and I really enjoy it. And so let me just do a little promotion too. My wife will kill me if I didn't. I also do a streaming show that my wife produces on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 2 o'clock Pacific time. You can get that at drdrew.tv. That's her little project, and we actually it's more day and date news kind of stuff that I talk about, and have interesting guests on, that kind of thing. So
No, if you ever need a guest, you can always call me. You can always text me and tell me to come, and I'll be there.
are you talking about After Dark?
Any of them.
Any of them? Okay. I think it'd be really interesting having you on After Dark. I think that might be that'd be, again, showing a part of yourself that we don't normally see.
Did you see Christina P stand up on Amy Schumer's
I didn't, but I've seen so much. I'm such a fan of hers that I probably have seen everything she says. I've seen it because she let me tell you the history with that. So we were, we like Netflix, comedy specials, and her first one, Mother Inferior or something, came on. I think that's what it was called, or maybe it was her second one. And I'm watching it, I'm going, holy shit, this woman is so smart. I could just tell. I said, you are not seeing 20% of how smart this woman is. I just know it. I could tell the way she expressed herself that there's way more horsepower here than she's willing to show for some reason. And my wife somehow she got involved with Tom, where he ended up coming on her psychic show, which if she ever brings that back, you ought to go on that. She has a whole bunch of friends that are psychics, so they would just do these podcasts together. And then he ended up coming on my podcast that I used to do with Bob Forrest. Turned out Christina was a big fan of Celebrity Rehab, so she really wanted to be there with me and Bob, and she liked that. And I was like, and that was when I first met her, and I was like, now come on. And they invited me on your mom's house after that, and that's how I had no idea what I was getting into there. And that was like, it was actually a traumatic experience going into your mom's house. If you know your mom's house, they just show horrible videos.
And they
And they
laugh.
go, what do you think? And I'm like, I feel sad. I feel sad all the time when you show me this shit. But anyway, when she came into the studio, I just said, what's going on? I'm like, what's going on here? What's the deal? And she like hit it again, and I go, come on. She goes, well, I went to Cambridge, and I was like a Rhodes Scholar, and I read all 9 volumes of Thomas Aquinas. I'm like, okay, you study philosophy in Cambridge. I got it.
I got it.
All right, that now starts to make sense. And then as I've gotten to know her, yes, she's like ridiculously bright and a great comedian.
She's so funny.
And because I'm such a fan of her, what is funny, her sense of funny, we go see her stuff too. So like when I'm in Austin, she performs, we'll go see her.
Yeah.
So I've seen all of her stuff, I think now.
Okay. Yeah, I watched it on Netflix one night, and I was just like, I just would die to go on her podcast. I messaged her on Instagram, and I was like, I love you so much, and she's like, thanks. And I was hoping that she would say, oh, come on, and she didn't. So I was like, let me.
Well, why don't you send me you have my email?
Yeah.
Send me an email making it like pitching yourself to be on, and I will send it to the producers.
She's made fun of Teen Mom before.
I'm sure she knows. She's so smart. She knows everything, right?
Yeah.
She's tuned into everything.
Yeah.
So she'll have. I think to me that's very interesting to have you on there. I think that'd be very interesting.
I don't want to react to any videos though, because like they also
Well, you'd probably go on Where My Mom's At.
Okay.
You'd probably go on that one. Yeah. Although they might put you on the main one. That one.
No, they're really selective, but Chris Hansen was on that one, and I had Chris Hansen on one of my podcasts, and so I watched that one, and that was a really good episode. I don't think they had him watching TikToks or anything.
They must have. They don't. No one escapes. no one escapes that misery.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Do you spend much time on TikTok yourself?
Not as much as I used to. No, it just
it's weirdly addictive environment.
It
weirdly,
is, but it's the new Google. I'm like, let me go check TikTok if I need to Google something, because they have everything.
That's interesting. I'd not really thought about it that way. I know I just randomly learn stuff from my feed is very nerdy. It's like Plantagenet English history and particle physics and weird stuff like that's what my feed is, because I'll stop and listen to those things. So
but yeah, no, I'll literally just search hashtags if I need to find something, instead of Google. I don't know what the heck is going on with this world, but yeah, TikTok is so addicting. But I try to stay off of it, because once I'm on, I'll be on for 4 hours.
And you don't even know it.
Yeah,
it's hypnotic. Yeah, it's very weird. Are you socializing enough?
No.
I mean, because I'm watching you feel better just as we sit here talking.
Yeah. No,
and
I try not to go out at all costs.
You need to have people around you that you can just hang out with.
Well, I'm gonna go to my son's football game tonight. He has a flag football game, so I'll go to that.
Lux? Which one?
Lincoln.
Yeah. And you told me last time somebody was sort of backing away from football. Was it Lincoln?
Yeah, and now he's back.
Okay.
He was basketball became his priority, but now he's back into football, and basketball is number 2 for now. But I'm trying to convince him to play baseball, because he's got a good arm on him, but he has no interest in baseball. So
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I really am anxious to see what happens with him athletically, because I really think I see something there. We'll see. I
actually so when he comes home to my house, we have like a little basketball court outside, and he asks me every single day to play with him. And the other day before he went to his dad's, I thanked him, and I said, thank you for, he did ask me more than once. I said, thank you for bugging me to play basketball with you. I said, because of my depression, it's really hard. I talk to my kids about my depression, because I don't want them
good.
to like wonder what's going on. And I said, thank you for getting me outside. I said, I really needed that 10 minutes to
Yeah,
just play
good.
and just,
And make sure they understand that this mood thing is something that happens in your brain, has nothing to do with them. They're
yeah.
not responsible because kids will feel responsible for this stuff. And then the other thing, because you have boys, let me just tell you, boys are much more tuned in and feel more emotionally supported and comfortable in side by side activities, right? Females like face to face. Males we get a little threatened by face to face. We like doing things side by side, and you can talk about emotional content then much more freely than face to face typically.
Okay, well, that's going to be really helpful because I was doing more of what you
You
described,
can you
the
can do
face to face.
you can do face to face. Well, it's a pen. You know, the 2-year-old needs face to face, right? That's where you're getting that closeness. But as they become, more autonomous and they're into activities, that side by side stuff, very particularly in adolescence, and you're moving into all that now,
So basically,
and
like if we're shooting basketball or something, like something like that.
ex- yeah, then you go or driving even. That's
Well,
another
we do a
time.
lot of it in the car. Okay, so then that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Yeah, but basketball and really, and this is more about adolescence than childhood. But you're moving into that stuff, and yeah, it was shooting baskets, going, how's school, how's everything going? That's when they're just likely to tell you when you're doing
That makes
stuff.
sense. When Isaac was in therapy around the time of Javi and I divorcing, his therapist would always pull him out of lunch and go play basketball with him. That makes
That
sense.
that is that's what therapists do that specialize in young males. That's what they will do. In fact, I had a colleague who is a neuropsychologist. He said neuropsychology is so complicated that you can't possibly, his opinion, do both males and females. You have to choose because each are very different and very specific and very complicated. And he did just males, and he had a basketball court as part of his office, as part of his thing in the back, and they would just go out and shoot hoops,
That's
and
cool.
that's where he would do a lot of his work. Yeah, yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I think.
And you're gonna be steeped in it. You're gonna be steeped in male. You're gonna be deep in it.
Well, it's funny because my 4-year-old Lux, he's so in tune with his feelings. I have never in my life met a 4-year-old that will say, I'm mad and this is why. And he will tell me,
Great.
he will tell me right to my face, like, you made me mad because X, Y, and Z, or I'm mad because X, Y, and Z. And I'm just like, where did you come from? Because I'm so
Yeah.
impressed with him. And
Yes, that's a great skill.
even if he's like super super hot and bothered, he'll wait until he calms
Mm,
down and say like why he was upset, and I don't, it doesn't even have to be
great.
prompted. He'll just come to me and tell me. I'm like, why
It's
wasn't it
great.
easy the other two times before this?
Yeah, right. It's I mean the other two
Yeah.
kids. So, everyone's got their genetic hand that they come with, and but back to all that you've created. If you notice yourself starting to think more about what you're grateful for than these weird self-destructive thoughts, that's how you know you're going to a good place. You're getting better.
Okay.
Gratitude is one of these, forgiveness, gratitude, but gratitude particularly is one of these symptoms that things are good,
Okay.
that you're doing okay.
Okay. I
Mm.
definitely need to practice that more. I don't know, words of affirmation or something.
Well, but I'm saying some of it will. I'm going to predict that some of it will just start. You said it. You said it a couple times in this conversation, that you'll just start thinking. You now you're thinking I should be grateful, but soon you're going to start thinking, oh, I'm so grateful for. It'll just occur to you. You'll just, and that you should go, oh, I guess I'm getting better.
Okay. Okay. I
Mm.
hope I notice more of that.
I do too.
I'm fighting every day, every single day. I'm fighting to just get up and just do
You,
stuff.
one thing I can just see, an easy thing is go do stuff with peers that give a shit about you. Yeah, you know what I mean? You're really, your therapy is working so well that you can translate that into your social life. You can start to get fuel and better just going out and having people that care about you talk to
Mhm.
you. That is tremendously powerful little
I,
exercise.
I went to dinner with my friend the other night, and I just really don't go out, Dr. Drew. Like I don't people
I'm telling you, you need to do some more of that. Yeah, I know it's
it's so
hard.
hard. That's why I was like, I even was like, once I got ready to go to the dinner, I was like, and there was only three of us. I was like, do I really want to drive up there? Do I really want to go? And then I ended up going. We had a great time and came
See?
home and went to bed. So I,
Yeah, at very least, you don't feel the mood disturbance so much while you're in. I can see it. I can see it just in this
right.
conversation. You're moving in and out of it, you
Hmm.
know, and you got to get out of it, get above it, you know, regulate it.
And I need to work out more. I need to get on my
Well,
toes a
that's
lot
a
more.
different. That is true. You know, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. These are not good things. So you have to good nutrition, proper sleep, adequate exercise, and then the lonely. You got to be with people.
Okay. I mean, I think part of it is that I love being by myself. Like before all of this, I once I got out of the relationship with Chris, I
Mm.
learned to love being by myself.
Well, that's good, but that's good, but don't.
Overdo it.
But when you have a mood disturbance, that can start to drift into isolation. You don't. You can enjoy your time alone. Don't isolate.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, maybe
yeah.
MTV will hire me to help you guys for the next reunion, and I'll be a host instead of
That or you'll help me with VH1 and we'll go
yes.
do some
No,
sort
that
of
would be
mental
my
health thing. I
dream.
mean,
That would be my
we'll
dream.
go put something together. Put
Well, so
something
I
together.
have
I'll happily.
this is a notebook of myself, and I started working on a pitch for something very similar to what you're describing, but it's I'll have to tell you about it off the podcast.
Okay.
But
Okay.
there's a therapy element to it, and just kind of digging deeper into all of if I'm season one or I'm episode one, digging more into my past and how I ended up on 16 and pregnant, and or maybe if someone
Yeah.
else is on it and it's from another network, how they ended up where they are, kind of thing. And I wrote down a bunch of ideas.
Wait. Like, I want to make sure I'm hearing you. So, like, how reality show participants ended up where
Mhm.
they were, or how teens end up pregnant, or
Both. Well, I
both.
thought if it's like a format, like a docu series, and we did like two or three
Yeah.
stories per like season.
I've always wanted to do some sort of where are they now,
Hmm.
you know, kind of not where are they now, but the effect of reality
Totally.
television, how it has affected people, and when they are on the other side of it, how it
Hmm.
affects them, and because it's a
Oh
thing.
no, it is.
It's yeah.
So I have 2 pages of like what I'm working on. My friend, she's also an attorney. She was helping me too. We kind of were like, let's see what we can do. So I
Any way I can help you out, you know, you can call on
I
me.
would love
I'm
that.
delighted to help
Well,
stuff
I
like
would
that.
love
Yeah.
to get you on the podcast again, or come down to
Okay.
Austin, whatever. Thank you so much. Do you want to
Yes.
plug anything else or plug anything again?
The last thing I do, I've got a bunch of little things coming. I've got a big thing coming that
Just say it.
let's just say I was on a real I can't I was on a reality show for 5 minutes essentially, but it's going to be a big build up in the winter time sometime. So I'll come on and
Oh,
tell you what that
cool.
was all
Okay.
about, and so I have some perspective. As I realized that was the only time I was ever
Subject.
not on the staff side. I was on the cast side, and it's different.
It's
It's
very
different
different.
being on the cast side. It's different. It's intense. Um, and uh, and then also I did other podcasts I do with Adam Kroll. I do one 3 days a week. If anybody really misses Loveline, you can find me and Adam. And then I do the one that Kaylin's been on, which is Dr. Drew podcast. That's all at drdrew.com. So drdrew.tv for the streaming.com for
I want
everything
to do a
else.
streaming now. You've got my gears turning.
Yeah, you should, because streaming is the new
Yeah.
thing, right? It's where people gather, and you can push yourself out with this thing called vMix, I think it's called. You can push yourself out on so many platforms. It's almost like a broadcast. I mean, you're still doing IP to IP, but you're on Twitch and Rumble and YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. And you can just push it out on everything
I'll have
simultaneously,
to.
and you can create little communities where you talk about stuff, and you can take calls. You can take calls now off Twitter
Okay.
Spaces, so you can do calls at the same time as you're doing stuff live.
Oh,
So
I
yeah.
think my followers, my supporters would love that. So I need to check that out.
Well, last thing I want to know is that you said there's these hate rooms, but do you have enough supporters? Do you feel like you're supported out
I
there in the
have
world?
through my
Like people,
podcast and obviously like the people I have in my real life, but my podcast,
yeah.
I have like incredible people who want to see me
Good.
thrive and who also understand what I'm
Good.
going through. So my
Good. Okay.
listeners
Good.
are
Good.
phenomenal, and yeah,
Good.
for sure.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you to those if they're listening right now. Thank you for
Yes,
supporting
thank you for
Kail.
supporting me, and thank you, Dr. Drew, for coming on the podcast.